Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Madisonville Marine. New boats, used boats, G3 Sportsman, G3 John boats, Skeeter, whatever type boat you're looking for, including those that I just mentioned for the outdoorsmen out there. Steve Sloan, Joe Special, and the crew at Madisonville Marine provide the best customer service in all of East Tennessee. That's just one reason why Madisonville Marine, I tell you every week, there's no better place to buy a boat. I want to welcome in the next member of our panel. That would be this man right there, Mr. Mike Strange, back with us. Gentlemen, before we dive into this, I want to show you some stats, and these are a little bit scary for you. All right, Tennessee can land the recruits. This is since Missouri joined, well, this is actually just the last 5 years. All right, so the last 5 years, you see that Tennessee's average rivals recruiting ranking in the final standings is 12.2. And I put the fifth year in there for simply the fifth-year seniors. I know that's a small part of it. The number would be higher if you take that out of there. But 12.2 is your average ranking in recruiting. Missouri's is about 40. Vanderbilt's about 46. So the Vols can land recruits, but they can't win with them. SEC record since Missouri joined the SEC in 2012.
Wow.
Missouri is 21-25 with 2 East championships. Tennessee 15-31. One game better than Vanderbilt. And if you go back to 2011, Tennessee and Vanderbilt are both 16-38 in the SEC. Gentlemen, this team was in the top 25 the last 2 years. We expected this year to be a step back. I think everybody here either said 7-5 or 8-4 to start the season. Didn't expect this nightmare season. Didn't expect the wheels to come off. What happened?
My first simplistic answer is Josh Dobbs graduated. That's the simplistic answer about this year. I think overall, Butch Jones, to me, his biggest weakness, he's a lack of creativity in what he does. He does the same thing year after year after year. You got Josh Dobbs, it works and works spectacularly. You don't have Josh Dobbs, I don't see a coaching staff that's able to come away from anything and say, okay, where are we strong? We got 2 good running backs, let's put in something and make that work. We're weak on the offensive line, okay, let's do whatever we can. If it's play 2 tight ends, whatever. Lack of creativity, I think, is Butch Jones' biggest problem.
And I'll follow up on that by saying, with the injuries you've got, the playmakers you lost, Dobbs and others last year, I'm not sure that hiring Larry Scott as the offensive coordinator with the lack of experience he's had in that role, I don't think that's worked out very well for him.
I agree with that one. I think to me, if that's where if the line's going to be drawn, it's the hire of Larry Scott. In the same, this year to me is so much like 2008. Philip Fulmer hires an offensive coordinator who can't get it done, and everything goes south on
Didn't that bring back memories when they're flipping the tackles last night
and
they're moving Tracy?
Although I'll give him credit for that one last night, because why the hell not?
Yeah,
I mean, you're trying something. But yes, you're right. It was reminiscent. Your thoughts on what the problem is, guys?
Coaching. I think it's coaching, and here's why. I don't think either coordinator's done a very good job, Larry Scott or Bob Shoop. I don't think they've done a very good job necessarily of playing the right people. You had Patulli on the bench for the opener against Georgia Tech, and he had 30.
He was third string.
20-something tackles, and the only reason he played much in that game was Austin Smith was hurt. You also have not played your 2 running backs together as much this year as you should have. And also coaching is player evaluation. I don't think they've done a very good job with evaluating the players they brought in. I don't think they've done a very good job of the player development. So I'm going to put it on coaching.
Chuck?
I think a lot of it goes back to injuries too, and we keep saying, how did you have this many injuries, especially 2 years in a row? And then, like Jimmy's saying, the failure to develop players and develop depth. I mean, there's no way in year 5 that you can continue doing the same old things and expect different results. Coaches keep talking about, we got to look at the tape. How much tape is there on what Tennessee's trying to do offensively? Does that make any defensive coordinator have a sleepless night trying to figure out how to stop this offense?
I'll throw another one in here, and that's departures. And I don't just mean the injuries. I mean, you've had guys that have just left the program. Now, some of them, they left because they weren't going to play. All right, bye-bye. You can't let them run the asylum. But there's been a huge amount, a crazy amount of guys who've just left the program. That comes back to the coaching staff, whether you're not de-recruiting them once they get on campus, or you're not doing it properly, or you've overpromised in the recruiting process. For some reason, you've had more departures. It's a transfer crazy sport right now. But Tennessee's at the top of the transfer crazy curve.
I think going back to Jimmy's point, too, about the coaching is Tennessee, when you look at the recruiting rankings and you look at the highest rated players that they've gotten in, the failure to develop player after player after player after player, at some point it's no longer a coincidence. At some point it's no longer, well, He was a 4-star, and we got him, but he turned out he didn't work out for us. You're getting guys that you're competing with Ohio State and Alabama for, but yet when they come here, they do not look like Ohio State and Alabama players.
Kongbo,
Yes.
McKenzie, Richmond.
Well,
Bates.
Garantano to a certain extent.
Garantano to an extent has not,
yes. You know, I mean, that's awfully coincidental that you keep getting these guys, but they come here and they don't play well.
Preston Williams.
In defense of Larry Scott, the guy I called out earlier in this segment, you look at what they had to work with last night between those offensive linemen, the receivers, and the quarterback situation. I don't think Steve Spurrier could score a whole lot of points for that bunch.
No, last
But
night,
the problems were there before you got to this
You
point.
had issues against UMass.
Yes, exactly.
So, and we said it you said it last night on the phone. Go back to that Georgia Tech game, which was really when they're not counting Indiana State against FCS. Georgia Tech was the best your offense looked, and it was good for a half. Take out Marquez Callaway making 3 incredible catches where he leaped out of his shoes. They really don't have much of a performance at any point this year. So,
But it's been like September 22nd since you had a touchdown catch.
well, you had one last night.
Yeah,
We
until
gotta-
last night. Yeah.
We got to catch a break. We are still going to talk about Dooley versus Jones. Where is that? I'm going to tell you what not to do when you're trying to judge coaches for a coaching search. And next, we're going to take a brief hold. Tennessee basketball started this week, so I want to talk to Mark Pancraft and Mike Strange about the Tennessee basketball team. Then we dive right back into the Butch Jones stuff. And we'll let you know if anything happens during our show in terms of press conferences scheduled. We'll tell you. Come on back.